be seated. Yay. Good morning. Christ is in our midst. Yeah. I'm so glad that you're here today. Thank you so much for being here and being a part of this service. And, we'll just pack you in as best we can. That's just all we can do. That's all right, though. God bless you. I think we should settle this now. There's not really been any good music since the 1970s. Well, maybe some in the 80s. Okay, some of the 80s. But once you get into the 90s, folks. I mean, grunge. Are you kidding me? Come on. Anyway, great song. Cats in the Cradle. You remember that song? And the silver spoon, the little boy blue, and the man in the moon. When you're coming home, Dad, I don't know when, but we'll get together then, son. You know we'll have a good time then. And that's Bewitched. The powerful part of that song is the man that is singing the song, the dad that is singing this song, gets to the point where he wants to see his son throughout the song saying, I'm going to be like him one day. I'm going to be just like him. Then as the son gets older, what I'd really like to do, Dad, is to borrow the car keys. See you later. Can I have them, please? The Cat's in the Cradle and the Silver Spoon. The dad calls the son and says, boy, I'd really love to see you. Dad, my new job's a hassle and the kids have the flu, but it's sure been nice talking to you, Dad. Sure been nice talking to you. And as I hung up the phone, it occurred to me, my boy was just like me. He'd grown up just like me. Brothers and sisters, friends, none of us, if I had the ability, I would highlight that in yellow highlighter and drop it into your skull. None of us are going to escape the reality that we will influence people around us. That will happen. You will be a witness of some kind of life to the people around you. That is happening right now. It has happened before. It is going to continue to happen in the future. You are going to be an example, a witness. People are going to look at your life. They're going to notice how you live, and you're going to notice how other people live. And whether you like it or not, whether you love it or not, especially in our wacko family systems that we have nowadays, and we've had since the beginning of time. I mean, goodness, look at Adam and Eve. Their boys killed, one of their boys killed their other one. So trust me, this isn't anything new. Messed up families is actually, it's kind of normal. Anyway. But you're going to be like what you see. Now, do you have to? No, you don't have to. You can make a choice. People do that all the time. Stories are replete. I mean, goodness gracious alive. Just in the Olympics, this one young lady that was this fantastic runner. Turns out she's a doctoral candidate from Harvard and volunteers her time doing all this kind of stuff. And this lady's fast. And she came from a very difficult circumstance in her life. And over and over again, we hear stories, inspiring stories, about men and women who overcame difficulties to make something of themselves or to achieve some great thing. And that's wonderful, and that's true, and that's possible, folks. But make no mistake about it, you're going to have your life formed and shaped. In fact, your life is going to form and shape other lives. It is absolutely inevitable. Believe it or not, ladies and gentlemen, we really are one family. We really are. We really are. Oh, but I'm an independent, pull myself up by my own bootstraps kind of guy. Well, good for you. God bless you. Where did you get that from? Oh, I got it from. Oh, see? when you're inspired, when you're not inspired, when you're disappointed, when you're embarrassed by the things that families do, and so on and so forth. Know beyond any shadow of a doubt your life is being shaped and you're shaping the lives of others. Now, the question becomes, what do you want your life to be formed by, and how do you want your life to form others? It's not a matter of will it or won't it happen. It is happening right now. The very fact that you're sitting in this building this morning listening to the guy in front in the pretty clothes yell at you for 15 minutes. That's a choice that you've made, and those choices produce consequences, and that's what happens in every one of our lives all the time, every time. So the question that I want to bring to you this morning is the question that the Apostle Paul presents the Romans. In our epistle lesson this morning, he uses two words twice. Our translation says steadfastness, but the other translations say endurance. So he uses the word endurance, so whenever you see the word steadfastness, in fact, if you have your program, just get it out and look at it, for heaven's sake. It's the Romans, it's the epistle lesson. So where you see the word steadfastness, read endurance. He uses the word endurance and encouragement twice. First, he says for us to have endurance and encouragement. And then he says that God is the God of endurance and encouragement. And every one of us know that the characteristics, the disciplines, the choices of sticking with it and being a positive influence in other people's lives is always a desirable thing. That makes perfect sense. If you've ever read in any kind of good heart-tugging story, that's always, oh, they stuck with it, and what an inspiration they were to the people around them. That's a good thing. We've seen it so many times, it's axiomatic. But what is the key to being someone who can endure? What is the key to being someone who can stick with it even when life is up and down, when it's good times and bad times and in between times, and when you want to give up, when you want to quit? I can't tell you how many times I've been in that spot. So what makes for a person to be enduring? Well, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, fasten your seatbelts. This may come as a shock to you. If you're going to have endurance, you're going to have to stop constantly focusing on what you want. What? Father? All of the books in the self-help section say for me to set audacious goals and keep reaching for the star. And yet, God Himself is the God of endurance. And why? The Apostle Paul tells the Romans, he says, Christ did not think of Himself, but gave Himself for us. If you want to be someone who endures, I can tell you the fastest way to be discouraged, the fastest way to be despondent, the fastest way to live with disappointment and with unmet expectations is to constantly focus on what you want. If you constantly focus on what you want, I promise you, beyond any shadow of a doubt, you are going to be an unhappy person. I promise you. It's guaranteed. Because someone who is constantly focused on what they want, in fact, we call them narcissists. Have you ever? Oh, of course, not me. Only you people are the ones that suffer with it. No. But it makes sense. If you're going to be a man or a woman who sticks it out, who doesn't give in, who is dependable and trustworthy, it is going to be that man or that woman that is not constantly focused on what I want. Because if you're focused on what you want, trust me, life has a way of disappointing you on a consistent basis that you will find yourself gripped by despondency and cynicism and anger and bitterness, and you will not be a good influence on the people around you. You have to stop focusing constantly on what you want. You have to start focusing on others. But that's hard, Father. Well, yeah. Most valuable things are. Are you a person of courage? Are you a person of integrity? Do you have character? If you do, hear the admonition from the Apostle Paul to the Romans. Be a man or a woman who has the characteristic and the discipline of endurance. You can be depended on. When you give your word, you follow through. When you make a deadline, you meet it. Why? Because sometimes, folks, meeting the deadline doesn't make me feel good about myself. It's a pain in my rear end. Trust me, I hate deadlines. And yet, I find myself being absolutely constantly faced with them all the time. If I'm going to be a person that sticks with it, it is going to have to be that I stop constantly focusing on my desires and start focusing on that which endures. And then secondly, the Apostle Paul calls God not only the God of endurance, but the God of encouragement. Now hold on to your seats with this one too, gang. Because the encouragement is not the happy, clappy, I'm okay, you're okay, can't we all just get along stuff. Encouragement, brothers and sisters, is a two-edged sword. Just ask my daughters when I encourage them to clean their room. Encouragement means, yes, I pat you on the back. I never will forget I was talking to one person, and I told this precious person, I said, you need to hear this. I'm proud of you. You need to hear this. I'm proud of you. I'm thankful for you. You are someone that I care about, and I'm proud to know you, and I thank God for you. That's encouraging words. It's also encouraging to say, please stop doing that which hurts you. That's an encouragement too. True love, brothers and sisters, isn't just simply giving a blanket acceptance of everything that everybody does and calling yourself loving. That's not loving, that's just selfish. Sometimes love puts your arms around someone you love and says, by the way, if you keep acting like this, it's going to kill you. And I love you. I don't want that to happen to you. Oh, but that offends me. Oh, okay. Love is offensive, folks. But you get that, right? Love is offensive. Sorry, it is. True love, anyway. Now, the mamby-pamby, Hollywood, syrupy, you complete me. I'm sorry, I don't mean to be mean. Well, it doesn't bother me. But the reality is that kind of love will always lead to selfishness. It will always feed the fact that you're not going to be someone who endures. You're going to be someone who's focused on what you want all the time, and love will always be dependent on whether I feel good or not. But true love, God's love, the love that encourages truly, encourages both positively and also confrontationally. That kind of love comes from the God of love who said to us, I am going to be who I am no matter what, and you're going to be made to be able to stand in my presence if you have the courage to follow Christ. This morning, the disciplines that the Apostle Paul lays before our feet are the disciplines of endurance and encouragement. Because our God, the God we are worshiping in here today, the God who is true, the living God, the true God, the authentic God, the God who exists and will always exist, that God is a God of endurance. He sticks with it. And encouragement. He loves you enough to tell you the truth so that your life conforms to that which is eternal rather than being deformed by that which is temporary. Make no mistake about it, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, this morning, in this moment, at this place, right now, in this church, that is what is laid at our feet, and we have the freedom to choose whether we're men and women of courage, endurance, and encouragement, or whether we will continue in the slavery of self-centered delusion. There is no middle ground. Lord have mercy. Thank you so much for watching. I pray this was a blessing to you. If it is a blessing to you, please don't forget to like and subscribe and share these videos. It really does help us a great deal. Speaking of helping us, if you'd like to support this media outreach, go to our Patreon site at Faith Encouraged on patreon.com. You can also visit us at our website at faithencouraged.org and write me at frbarnabas@faithencouraged.org. I look forward to seeing you next time. Don't forget to like and subscribe. God bless you.